On Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, the Osage County Courthouse in Oklahoma became the setting for a day that would mark the end of a decades-long story. Robert Morris, founder and former pastor of Gateway Church, appeared before the court to accept a plea deal related to the SA of a minor in the 1980s. Eyewitnesses described the atmosphere as tense, emotional, and surreal. Morris entered the courtroom surrounded by an extensive group of family and close associates. His wife, Debbie Morris, their sons, James and Josh, along with their wives, Bridget and Hannah, their daughter, Elaine Fisher, with her husband, Ethan, and Morris's father. Also present were Kevin Grove and his wife. Observers noted that Morris appeared restless, pacing around the courtroom before the proceedings began. In front of reporters, he hugged each member of his family and exchanged what onlookers described as an awkward kiss with his wife, Debbie. Clemisher entered the courtroom with an overwhelming show of support. Approximately 25 family members, including her sister Karen, were present. A state representative from Texas and Elizabeth Carlock Phillips also attended in solidarity. Once procedural matters for the plea agreement were concluded, the judge permitted both Karen and Cindy to make statements. Before speaking, Karen turned the courtroom podium to face Robert Morris directly and delivered an emotional, pointed statement that moved many in attendance to tears. Before we look at the statement, here's how Cindy later reflected on that show of support from her sister, saying,
I think it makes me emotional now because, she acknowledged that I may have been different. There are things in my life that would have been different. What would I have accomplished in the last, 38 years if I wasn't carrying the burden that I've carried?
Karen Clemisher, Cindy's sister tone was calm but firm, the voice of someone who had carried truth for too long.
Robert, when I look back on my teen years, you were always there. We have so many memories with your young family, you and Debbie and Josh, who was only 3 months old when we met. In the time we spent together, we watched Josh grow from an infant into a toddler, and then baby James was born. Our family loved yours. I remember the laughter, the fun times, and what we thought was friendship. But friends we were not. You came into our lives as a thief, a wolf in sheep's clothing, and you shattered the family we were meant to be. It broke our hearts when Cindy shamefully shared that every time you visited us, you secretly and premeditatedly raped and/or sensually molested her. During the formative preteen and teen years of Cindy's life, while you were a BUSING, her you were building your ministry and out evangelizing churches. In the spring of 1987, we found out what you had done. Since that time, observing the arrogance of your double life has been staggering. Today marks day 15,622 since you first violated Cindy's body, mind, soul, and spirit. That's more than 42 years that Cindy has had to carry your shameful, evil, selfish secret. All the while you pretended to be holy, preaching from big pulpits. As you hid behind your facade, we've known you are nothing but a predator. What you did to Cindy has haunted her every single day of her life. This year, Cindy shared with me that not a day has gone by that she hasn't thought about the ABUSE she endured. And let me tell you how this has affected my family. Your vile actions did not just wound Cindy, they scarred every one of us. My dad considered you a very close friend. As you would remember, our dad has always been a hard-working provider, protector, and the leader of our family. At 82, he still keeps busy with his business and spends as much time as he can with his grandkids. He loves God, and he loves us. We are beyond blessed with such amazing parents. And for you and your family, Robert, my dad gave the very best he had. He encouraged you and financially blessed what he thought was a ministry. Later, we realized it was only a really good disguise. Your evil avenue for selfish gain. As you were just starting out in your ministry, Daddy helped you and your family in so many ways. He gave you opportunities to preach in our church and recommended you to other churches as well. Back then, you needed all of the help you could get. There were times when you didn't even have enough gas money to make it back to Fort Worth. He generously made sure your gas tank and your pockets were full. Whenever we went anywhere together, Daddy always paid your entire tab, treating you as family. My mom tirelessly made our home warm and welcoming, preparing homemade meals, generously making sure your family had everything you needed and more, including playpens, high chairs, and diapers. It was important to her that when you visited our home, it was comfortable for your family. In fact, we can't help but remember, every time you came to our home, it was like a vacation. We had motorcycles, a pool, great food, plenty of friends, and lots of laughter. We spent many hours joking and visiting around our kitchen table. You always left with more than you came with. My parents gave you their very best. And how did you repay my family? By betraying their trust in the cruelest way possible, by targeting what was most precious to them, their daughter, my sister. Robert, you were not our friend. You were not a good preacher. You were a predator. Finally, we are able to pull back the illusion for the world to see. And for Cindy, your abuse wounded her spirit, mind, soul, and body. You robbed her of her innocence and altered the course of her life. You forced her to carry shame and confusion that were never hers to carry. But I'm here to tell you, after years of major challenges, struggles, and hardships that stemmed from your abuse, she is not weak. We want you to know. Cindy is strong, loving, and beautiful inside and out. She is a wonderful mother to 3 sons and a loving grandmother to 3 grandchildren. She's a daughter, an aunt to 4 nephews and 2 nieces, a sister, niece, cousin, and a true friend. She is articulate, artistic, intelligent, and blessed with social skills and business sense. Cindy has learned to cope with and repress her own shame. Her loving and giving personality attracts others to the light inside that never stopped shining in spite of the pain. She constantly puts others first. Everyone who knows Cindy loves her. She is able to tackle more tasks than most people could ever imagine. Using her God-given talents, she blesses others while carrying her own burdens. Fighting these battles has made her so strong, but it's been an uphill battle. A fight she should have never had to endure. For decades, she's worked on herself and her relationships. Cindy has drudged through a lifetime of counselling. I know there's so much more in life she would have accomplished had she not carried the undeserved shame and pain that no one should ever have to bear. I know it held her back, but she's not finished. Cindy continues to get back up after failures or mistakes and works hard to create a good life for herself and her family. Cindy has tremendous support too. We've always seen the best in her. We've painfully watched the hurdles she's faced as a result of the abuse. But we, her family, extended family, friends, and even her hometown, knew Cindy before the abuse ever began, and we love her all the more. The shame loomed over her heart for decades, but because of her foundation, her smile shined brighter still. Today, Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, marks a huge milestone for our family. Today, we rise above you, the villain in our story, and we show the world our hero, Cindy Clemisher. Through it all, she's been remarkably resilient, and today she's more powerful than ever. She's no longer silenced by your lies. She speaks the truth, boldly helping countless other victims of SA. She shares what you did to her, how you stole from her, how you changed her, and how you tried to break her. Today, as we watch this play out, after more than 4 decades, I can only wonder and imagine who my young and innocent 12-year-old sister, the middle child in our family with the Dorothy Hamill haircut, the happy-go-lucky, giggly, petite little girl, always smiling and excelling in school, would have become if you had never entered our lives. Even still, I know who Cindy is now, a remarkable woman who survived you. My parents survived you too. Looking back, I can picture it all. My mum and dad were in their mid-30s. Times were much simpler back then. Daddy worked hard, Mama stayed home and helped with his business. They were raising a family and very active in their church. Our lives were great until you came in like a snake and preyed upon Cindy. Our parents lived to provide for us and to keep us safe. Unfortunately, they trusted you, a man who wore the disguise of friendship and faith, and you repaid them with betrayal. Now, Mama and Daddy are in the last stages of their lives, 79 and 82, with heads full of white hair. They've slowed down a lot since their 30s. Over the past 3 decades, their home was filled with 9 grandchildren who have since nearly all grown up. Yet, through the most wonderful life experiences, our parents have carried the deepest wound of their lives. The shock of believing someone was their friend, only to realize that person stole one of their most precious gifts from God, the pure innocence of their 12-year-old daughter, Cindy. We, Cindy, Brian and I, along with our parents, children and grandchildren, the family you indulged in for selfish gain, sit here today. We are unbroken and bound together by a love you could never touch. However, each and every one of us are forever scarred because your vile actions have affected generations. Finally, after all these decades of hiding behind your disguise, the truth is out. Robert, your life may have been blessed, as you wrote about in your best-selling books. But from this day forward, your name will never be spoken with honor. You will not be remembered as a preacher or a leader or even a friend. Robert Morris's legacy will be one of pedophilia, betrayal, lies, shame, and justice delayed.
Throughout both statements, Robert Morris kept his gaze fixed downward, never making eye contact, never showing emotion, and never responding. Those present say the silence that followed was deafening. In that silence, decades of pain finally met accountability, not through the pastor's confession, but through the courage of the sister who spoke truth to power. After the victim impact statements, the courtroom turned its attention back to the bench. The plea deal had already been negotiated in advance, but now the details were read aloud for the record. For Cindy and her family, it wasn't about the years behind bars. It was about acknowledgement, truth, and the legal confirmation that the abuse had happened. If you're a survivor watching this, I want you to hear Karen's words about Cindy. You are remarkable. You survived. And we believe you. If you're a church leader watching this, it's time to do the hard work. Implement real safeguards. Create cultures of transparency. Stop protecting predators. And if you're just a regular Christian trying to make sense of all this, I get it. It's overwhelming. It's heartbreaking. But we cannot look away. The American church will only change when we demand better. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Share this video. Not for the algorithm, but because someone in your circle needs to hear this. Someone needs to know they're not alone. Someone needs to understand that justice, even delayed, is still worth pursuing. And drop a comment below. Tell me, what do you think needs to change in the American church? How do we protect the vulnerable? How do we ensure this never happens again? Hit that subscribe button if you want more honest conversations about faith, leadership, and accountability. Because we're not done talking about this. The American church is at a crossroads. We can keep protecting institutions, or we can start protecting people. I know which side I'm on. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.